first thing is why not? Why not retarget users?
I like that. Why not? You saw ROAS growth from roughly 30% on day 0 to over 70% by day 14, hitting 100% by day 28 or 30 or so. That is solid performance.
The learning is getting a lot better and better.
Hey, welcome back to the 2026 Full Funnel App Growth Series powered by Aarki, where we're not just talking about growth, we're breaking down how it really happens. So every episode is with marketers who are rethinking, maybe even rewriting the rules of acquisition, retention, and everything in between. My guest today, no exception to that, because she is a perfect example of that mindset in action. So joining me is Aleyna Cerrah. She is UA manager at Apps. It's a mobile gaming company from Turkey with hits you might know, such as Drill and Collect and Fashion Battle. But it's also a company that we've chatted about personally, Aleyna, because we got a chance to catch up for a few moments at the recent Google App Summit as well. So I have to say it's great to have you back again.
Hello, thanks for having me. I am really excited for this one.
I am too, because you've got a great story. I love this, right? Because I love things at the intersection. So you started in e-commerce, you worked on data-driven growth there, and then you bring that precision into gaming, which is what I love, the gaming, non-gaming story. And you love data, which I do too, a little bit of a nerd, but it's also not just the data. You have, I would say, a co-collaborator, a co-creator, your cat Bean, who I understand comes to many of your UA meetings. Do we have Bean here today?
Unfortunately, not today, because she is decided to lie in the living room today, but we respect her.
On the couch, being in a warm blanket, I can totally see it. So before we get into the serious stuff here, I wanted to stay with you, right? Because you came into gaming from e-commerce, and that is like the most interesting jump. So how has that experience shaped the way you think about retention and retargeting in mobile games? Because that's what you're bringing, you know, you're coming from the checkouts to the cool characters.
Mm-hmm. Actually, just give a little bit context about which company that I work. They were in the market for around like 10 years. So they acquired most of the users in Turkey. The main strategy for that company was to re-engage the existing users. So I knew re-engagement before I knew UA, actually. I knew everything about re-engagement, retargeting. Later, I learned about UA, actually. So this is where I started. And when I moved to gaming company 3 years ago, I know that there's a whole other world here that is like mostly focused on UA, retargeting. No one knows, no one, no one tries even. Here, I was always like asking like why we don't do retargeting.
Was that surprising for you? I'm just curious.
Yes, yes, it was surprising because no one was focusing like how high the CPIs were. Like they were just only doing UA, but some point, you're just going for the same users because they are the ones who installed the game at the first. They're the ones who have high intent. They're the ones your ROAS campaigns are targeting. So if you want to not pay the CPI, but you want to keep the users, you have to do retargeting. It's inevitable at this moment, I guess.
Gaming can borrow from non-gaming when it comes to engagement and retention. What can non-gaming brands take from gaming now that you've seen them both?
The first thing that I see is the Playables, actually. No one was using Playables before. It became a huge hit, and right now, non-gaming companies are using Playables. If they don't use it as an ad, they are using that in their apps, like e-commerce, retail, any kind of non-gaming apps. And the second thing is that we are now seeing the non-gaming brands are trying to build their community, like their game studio. So for
Mhm.
the game studio, the core of the business is like UA and also retaining. And for the retaining, they're building some community. They're trying to engage them with the app. They're trying to learn from them.
Mhm.
This is also happening with the non-gaming brands. They are trying to build their community. They're trying to like build their hashtags. They're trying to make something like a gaming company. And I think like this is where industry moved to gaming from non-gaming.
Yeah, there are those lessons, and it's interesting both are somehow out to build brand. I think that 2026 is going to be like a huge year for building brand. All the marketers I'm speaking with, gaming and non-gaming, it's like, building the community, building the brand, and that's combining those lessons from both worlds. So let's talk about your approach, how you are approaching full funnel growth at apps. Just like the basic question for everyone is why retargeting? Because the marketers I'm talking to, they're like, yeah, that's important, but you've made it into a core growth lever at apps. So that's a very different approach. Why?
Mhm. The first thing is why not we target users?
I like that. Why not? Exactly.
So I know, like, I only know the 3 years of this industry, like
Hmm.
hyper casual to casual. The CPIs are going high, 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 like every
Yeah.
year. We have seen that our retention rates are dropping. Even if we add really new, like really cool things to the game, the retention rate doesn't change or it's dropping. So what do we do? Like, how can we push the users not to pay the CPI, but keep them in the game so we will have longer retention rate? This is where it comes to retargeting. So you can go for like very cheap. You can only use like banners and get like I don't know, 10% of the US CPI for for returning a one user, which is really like really small amounts, because when you think of the LTV that that user is going to bring, it's very high. And also we have seen that when we do a retargeting, we're not affecting our UA at all, because for the UA, like we're going only for the churning users. So for UA campaigns, the user's LTV is stopping at some point, but retargeting is bringing the incremental revenue. It's not harming the UA. It's not going for the same user. It is bringing more revenue from that user. So this is, I think, what should be done at this moment.
It's a learning journey, and your journey started with Aarki. So tell me a little bit about that journey, how the partnership started, how your strategy for retargeting has evolved since then, and maybe also because of that.
Yeah, we were one of the first partners that try retargeting with Aarki. They were really new back then. They need learning, we need learning. That's why we collaborated together. We choose some of the high scaling countries for our title Drill and Collect, and we launched the campaigns. I think it took around like 3 to 5 weeks per campaign to like see the actual results. First, we saw really high cost per retribution, really high CPCs, but after a while, they show really good improvement, around like 80% improvement on cost per retribution when we first launched campaign to 5 weeks later. And they are now actually even better with the performance. Like it's been improving a lot, and we're aiming for like day 45, and they're getting them on day 14 actually. Like it's been this is not the actual date that we're aiming for, but it's how they're effective. And also for the creatives, they are supporting us on like which kind of creatives that we should produce. And also they're doing some fine tuning in the creatives. They're adding some things that can be like interesting to user,
Yeah.
which is also helpful to us.
I
Yeah.
want to get to that in a moment because retargeting creatives, that is the question. Many marketers ask me, so what does a retargeting creative look like? But let's go back to a moment to the tests because um, different tests have different inactivity windows. I mean, that's a big question. I talk with marketers all the time. Is it 14 days? I just talked with another marketer says, I do it practically at the start because I see that impact. Now you tested different inactivity windows. What worked best from you? What did you learn in the process there?
So when we first launched the campaign, the recommended window was around 3 days, I guess, but there was no data behind it. They were just giving some industry benchmark. We applied the 3 days, and we saw that it's been affecting our UA campaigns because it was going for the active user. The main thing that we want to do with the retargeting, we are going to find the churning users, not lost, not active. So for that, we dig up the data. We found that around 90% of the users, if they're not creating a session 5 days after, they are not going to create a session ever again. So
Hmm.
they're most likely to like churn. So
Okay.
which is like we chose 5 days, and after that, we saw some effects that our cost per retribution has increased because we were going for more lost users. People lost interest to our game. They were
Mhm.
seeing ads but not showing some interaction. We know that it's going to be increased, but when we check for long term data for our UA and retargeting campaign, we see that this is the best thing for our game. Uh, it can change from time to time actually, because when you add live ops to the game, it will be different because
Yeah.
the retention rate is going to change. So you have to do some maybe regular analysis for that one.
Interesting. So 5 days, but I mean, as you said yourself, it depends a little bit on the genre and the gameplay. If you have live ops as well, but of course, retargeting can get expensive pretty fast as well. So how do you balance your UA and retargeting budgets and still hit those ROAS goals?
The main KPI for our retargeting campaigns as well as UA is achieving our certain goal, ROAS goals. We don't limit our campaigns by a certain cost per retribution or CPC. We're just letting the algorithm finds the best one for it. We have decided it's not, there's no actual data behind it. Like we're keeping our retargeting budget around 10 to 30% of our UA spend. This, if the UA spend is increasing, retargeting is increasing as well, because when we check the UA and retargeting data on a graph for a yearly basis, we saw that whenever our UA scale has dropped, our retargeting performance has dropped as well. So it's been affecting each other too much. That's why we decided to keep it on a certain level. If you just launch your game, you have to wait a little bit more to get some audience and dig up that audience, and then after launch a retargeting campaign.
Yeah, you're using these on the games you have in the market and the audiences that you have, for the most part, established. But again, you're hitting those ROAS goals. Can you share a little bit? I mean, is there a certain payback by a certain time, or again, does that depend on the title?
It's changing from our between our titles. So this, how we decided is that we check the retention rate of our UA campaigns, we check the retention rate of our existing retargeting campaigns, and between them we compare the retention rates, how they're changing by campaign. So for the UA goal, we want to have a shorter period of time for the retargeting campaign, because um, the users are already decided to churn.
Like in those first 5 days, like you point out, I mean, a lot happens in the mindset in the first 5 days. So it's really that's a critical period.
That this is why we compare our data and decide like what's the sweet spot to target our ROAS, like to have break-even point.
Overall, it's all about getting the retargeting creative right for the experience. So, in your experience, what makes for a great retargeting creative? Maybe there's something about the message or the moment or the motion.
What I think is that different from UI creatives, the main thing that attracts user is the message for a retargeting campaign, because the user knows the game. It's not a new thing, but user knows that there's a point that they stop playing, so there should be a reason for them to get back to the game. They should know that they're noticed by you. They should know that they want to be taken care of by you. That's why the message is the most important thing. And we can also see it on our in our campaigns. We are building creatives for retargeting only, and we are also adding the best UI creatives as well to feed the algorithm. When we see the split between the UA and retargeting creatives, retargeting ones always doing well. And even if the ones between the retargeting creatives, the ones that we say, welcome back, we missed you, it's working better.
That's amazing. I hadn't thought about it, but like, yeah, just at that moment, because it's, if you're going to pick up that relationship, you don't go back, you don't, rewind. You matter from the moment that you left. Everything is just the way you left it. We want you back. But that sounds like something that would be above and beyond human capacity to figure out those hooks, because you're not just refreshing creatives and testing creatives, you're also adding in that element of knowing your user, your player. How do you approach that? Is that an AI augmented marketing thing, or is this really within your team?
Mm, Currently, the input is from our team, but the
Mm-hmm.
rest is AI, like different tools. We do a lot of market research between like the UA, marketing arts, and our game design team are all doing marketing research. They're checking the creatives, they're checking the new titles, how they are approaching the users. I think this view is working for us. We see what our competitors are doing, what our top games are doing, how they're like behaving users. Even if we are a hybrid casual game, we see that casual games are doing differently. We want to do what they're doing. We are changing our strategy. We're trying different things, and yeah.
A lot of iteration, a lot of excitement. I mean, you have been experimenting with AI generated hooks, which is in itself fascinating and a little bit breakthrough. And you've also been working with Aarki and its creative optimization tools and techniques, to iterate and scale what works. How does that work together? Brainstorming, testing the ideas, adding the AI hooks.
With the AI, actually, this is something very cool. We're doing like monthly like workshops with our product team. They're like sharing their crazy ideas, like what we can try in the creatives. 6 months ago, when they said like let's add bombs, let's add tanks here, and we said like we don't have that in marketing build, and like it was taking too long time to build that creative. But with the AI, whenever I get the idea, I can just do it by myself. Even I don't need any marketing artist for it. So, which is very cool about it. Yeah, I love AI at the moment.
I love it. I love that because I'm with you on that actually, because if you see it as an assistant, then you understand what's possible here. You get different insights, different ideas. Once you nail it, you want to scale. How does that work, and how have you worked also with the optimization tools that Aarki has, for example, to scale what works once you find what works?
For the iteration, our KS team is helping us a lot. There are like they're also handling lots of advertisers on their own. So they know which is working, which is not working. And whenever we send them a new creative set, they're telling us like what to change, what to add in the next steps. And this is helping us a lot. And they're sharing like some decks with us. And also there are building interactive banners for us. This is very helpful because we don't have that technology in our end. We're doing everything in house, but we never did an interactive banner. So we're just sending the PSD to them. They're just bringing out a few parts of the creative, and they're doing some pop up, and it's been working really well for us.
This is great because sometimes you find things that you wouldn't have expected or wouldn't have guessed before, and then you see it in the data. So is there something you've seen in the data that maybe tells you or surprises you?
Yes, the first thing is that I thought the playables are going to work for retargeting. It didn't work. The CPCs were really high, and I thought like users want to play the new version of the game, but they don't. Yeah, it was too high. The ROAS was really low, so that didn't work. The second thing is that trusting the algorithm and knowing that the algorithms between different partners is going to be different too. We have two partners for the retargeting. We are using the same geo, same creative, same budget. Everything is the same,
The
but
results are different.
yeah, the user behaviors is really different. We don't know like why this is happening. So they one of them has really high day zero, day seven ROAS. They're hitting the KPI. One of them has really low day zero, day seven, but they're also hitting the KPI.
Yeah, that is a mystery. That's something to delve into maybe another time. But speaking of numbers, let's get into the numbers because your campaigns are impressive. Now, you saw ROAS growth from roughly 30% on day zero to over 70% by day 14, hitting 100% by day 28 or 30 or so. That is solid performance. Tell me the story of why that is impressive.
Because it's a hyper casual campaign. It's not possible to see that on retargeting. When you like 5 years ago in pandemic, you launch your hyper casual title. You're seeing the revenue coming really really fast. It was amazing. We never saw that before. But when you check any like retargeting campaign with Aarki, it's like a hyper casual campaign all over again. It's very surprising. The break-even point, they're achieving it really fast. If you're not satisfied with the CPCs, they're also changing it. They're doing their creative optimization. This is what you want your from your partner. They are like very flexible when it comes to your targets, when it comes to what you need.
Mhm.
And actually, those numbers are like pretty outdated right now. I checked yesterday and we are seeing day 14 100% ROS, which is really, really good. And yeah, they're like the learning is getting a lot better and better.
What do you think is driving that performance? I mean, ROAS, 100% ROAS by day 14.
The first thing is that Arc's algorithm, because it's been 1 year and we are still hitting our KPI. Normally, for a UA campaign, it can break up at some point. You might have to duplicate it. If you have like more partners, there may be competition. But with Arki, like it's solid. It doesn't change. It's getting a lot better. And I trust the algorithm a lot. And the second thing is the creative. Creative is the part that the users see that that is that is the thing that you want to tell. So this is the most important thing, both for UA and retargeting. And this is what we can do on our side. The rest is algorithm.
Again, you're like these marketers that I love so much. You know, you love digging into the data. What is a turning point in what you see in the data? You know, something that told you a bigger story, maybe one that even surprised you, because again, it's all about that focus and not just understanding the numbers, but wanting to be curious about the why and the why not, as we said at the top.
Creatives tell me that if they have good CTR, have good IPM, but not good ROAS. This is something that I have to dig about. I know the create is attractive, but it's somehow not retaining the users, not bringing the LTV that I want. Um, yeah, I think the elements of the creative is not something that you can analyze by data, because the inside, the content of the creatives cannot be analyzed. This is the feeling that you get, the feeling that the user get, but when you check the data, it's total different story. So you have to do like a cycle, like learning between the creative and the data, creative and the data. This is what I see, this is what surprises me about this retargeting campaigns, because UA is like very fast forward, like it's users are already playing the game, they are seeing new game, like they're attracted or not. But for the retargeting, it's something totally different. Like they know your game, but somehow they decide to go for it, they decide not to go for it. And I want to find the correlation between the actual creative content and the creative data, which is which can be changed so fast. I don't know like how, but I'm
Yeah.
trying to figure that out.
Yeah, because you're right. It's different. It's a different trigger. It's a different action you're looking at because UA is just like, oh, got my attention. I'm going to download. I'm going to interact. That's an easy one. But what works to bring you back? You know, that's emotional as well as the campaign itself. So it's the creative, it's the message, it's everything. And probably also a lot about the moment as well.
Yes, and we've been testing different kind of creatives, different initiatives for a user, and this is always like blows my mind. We are testing like giving them tokens, no ads, but combining them each other sometimes doesn't work. We're giving more rewards to users, but doesn't work. They're choosing something that like relates to them somehow. It's just a different thing. Like you have to just understand your users. Like maybe like tailor the experience from UA to retargeting, because they don't want the same things. They don't want the same rewards. It's very different. So I just want to learn more about this one.
A lot to unpack there. A lot can be very interesting seeing what you find out and maybe also what you share. One lesson that you'd like to share with marketers listening in, something that made you a better, smarter marketer.
For you have to be a good marketer, you have to know the product. If you're managing retargeting, you have to work with your product team, because you are going for you are going for retention, they're going for retention, and the one thing that brings you together is the game, is the app that you're going for. So you have to know what's happening, you have to know what's changing, if you add any live ops, if you add any new things. We do weekly meetings with our product team. This helped me a lot, and like it gave me new perspective of how I do marketing, rather than bits, raws, creatives, but looking at how users are behaving, like which level they're struggling with, why they're churning, what's their problem, what's the crash rate of the game. Yeah, this is really helpful to us.
I love that because what that tells us is that smart retargeting, it brings it all together. There's creative and there's data, there's timing, there's AI, and there's human personal touch and heart. So you bring all of that together, Aleyna, and I can only say it has been amazing. We've learned about metrics, we've learned about meaning, and maybe even a meow from one of your friends. Do we get a meow from Bean or one of her friends? Who do we have? Oh, look at that. Lovely.
We have Lucy here. Uh,
Lucy.
yeah, she is an intern of apps as a UA
An
manager.
intern. Oh, great. Learning the data, learning the ropes, and excited about data just like you are. No, I'm just kidding. So it's great to have you. I mean, it was wonderful, and looking forward to more as, see, thanks ever so much. And for everybody else out there, yes, this episode is part of the 2026 Full Funnel App Growth Series powered by Aarki, a special edition of MobileGroove. Here we look into full funnel growth, what it means in practice. So yes, subscribe, share, stay tuned for the next episode or another one of Aleyna's cats. Maybe Bean will make a comeback, who knows? But in the meantime, let's keep exploring the new rules of growth in a privacy first world.